back to the Journeys podcast. My name is Kyle McGee, and this is George Vejerano. George is a FIBA licensed agent for men's and women's basketball who are professional athlete. He currently has players all over the world in Uruguay, Nicaragua, Mexico, Albania, and of course Puerto Rico. George was also involved in bringing over some of the biggest name players to the BSN, including DeMarcus Cousins. I'd like to welcome my agent, George Vejerano.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Thanks for having me in your podcast, Kyle. Appreciate it, man.
How you been, man? It's been a little while, probably like a month since I talked to you.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute, man. Everything is going good, man. We are in the this time of the year where, between Europe, Latin America, some of the players are already currently playing in Latin America, but also there's always this window between November and December where teams are starting to pick up maybe replacements for,
Yeah.
their leagues. So eventually they can end up the season. So, it's always busy. It's always work to do, man. You know how it is.
So where did you get the start for like the love of basketball? You started, I know you were born and raised in Puerto Rico, but
Yes,
can you
sir.
tell me a little bit about how that all started and you got involved in basketball?
Well, I believe that started early, 5 years, but I left basketball for a minute and then came back when I was 10 years old and continued to playing all the way to like when I was 25. I got my shares of success as a player. I won in Puerto Rico a couple of times as far as a player. Um, Maybe went to training camps twice as a to try to go to the BSN
Mm.
back in when I was 18 and 19. I couldn't pursue it. I think I had a bad injury, bad ankle injury, and then played basketball at a college level in Puerto Rico. They have this system, so University of Puerto Rico. They have different campuses around the island. And back then, there was like five campuses that play NCAA Division two in Florida. So, I can say that I technically play NCAA Division
Right,
basketball.
right.
And it was fun. But also in college, in my last year, I pulled out a hamstring. And not hamstring, I take that back. The groin, I had a bad groin injury, and that kind of like hold me a little bit. And then move forward into when I moved to San Antonio. I decided to just try just to see what happens, and I dropped like I don't know what, like 60 pounds or something. And one of my good friends back then had me playing semi-pro, so I can say that I actually played basketball not one but twice at the AT&T Center where the Spurs play, man.
Right,
So
right, right. That's
I
nice.
did that. I did that a little bit. Obviously, I try to stay in shape. I just came from playing basketball on a Sunday morning. Like I normally try. That's the word. Try to stay in shape, but
Mm.
the food in San Antonio and Texas is different. It's too much to eat and all that good stuff, man.
I see you doing a great job with the staying in shape stuff because even from when I first met you to now, man, you can see the body's change. I can see you working out, doing your stuff in the weight room and all that. So I got to give you your praises.
I appreciate it, man. I try because, again, like my family is notoriously known by, little things like that. If I stop doing basketball or stop doing something, I'm gonna gain weight real quick. So I try my best on that.
Mm.
I want to say back in 2014, because I made the transition from player to actually coaching in Puerto Rico, and I want to say that was one of the best years of my life. Like people that really know me will say like that was my ultimate goal. Like I really was passionate about coaching. Like I love coaching. I still love coaching. So that's how in some ways got into being an agent. I was obviously we can get to that story later, but I coached the game multiple levels. I coached high school in Puerto Rico. I coached my former high school where I graduated. I coached it 4 years straight, and we won back-to-back island championship for the public system in Puerto Rico. So, that helped me a lot, as a coach because got a lot of invitations. I coached minor leagues. So in Puerto Rico, you got the juvenile like sub 17, sub 18, sub 19, sub 21, and then eventually sub 25. So I coach all those levels as a head coach. I won Sub 19 in Puerto Rico back in 2012.
Mm.
I was for the Capitanes of Arecibo. They had the minor leagues. I was coaching in their minor leagues and eventually got that as a head coach. I helped Juan Cardona, which is currently the head coach for Capitanes del Arecibo. We were coaching together, and we won Sub 21 and then Sub 25. So I got my little share of, as a head coach. But man, back then in Puerto Rico, money wise, I was recently graduated from two bachelors, and I needed to make a decision as far as money. Like I really wanted to keep going into coaching. I might had an invitation back then in 2013 to go into becoming an assistant coach for the Capitanes de Arecibo, but the process was a little slow for me, so that's why I decided to go the professional side of my life, and I got a business degree marketing with finance and decided to go that. That's how I moved to San Antonio.
Yeah, this is actually crazy. I didn't know for all the years I've known you. I didn't even know that you were a coach back then. That's so you said that you got into the coaching and then you decided to get into the agent, like becoming an agent. How did that whole process start?
So, funny story, right? I have a little brother. His name is Joseph Bejarano. He was, I don't want to say that I was good, but if I was a little good in basketball, he was twice as good. And he actually played for the national team for the juvenile sub 18, sub 19 in Puerto Rico as a guard. And Juan Cardona actually, because he knew him, brought him to the minor leagues of Arecibo, and he jumped from the minor leagues to playing with Arecibo Capitanes for 2 years.
Just
And
to make sure, like the minor leagues are kind of like if the NBA and then the G League, kind of like that kind of thing.
yes, but these in Puerto Rico, these BSN teams, some of them they have like minor leagues. When I say minor league, is like the sub 17 of
Okay.
Capitanes,
Okay.
the sub 21 of Capitanes, the sub 25 of Capitanes. Not Puerto Riqueña, because now Puerto Riqueña has become
That
like the G League in Puerto Rico.
that's the one I was thinking of. I thought that's what.
Yes, yes, yes. When I say minor leagues, I'm talking about like we call it the fincas. I don't know how to say that word in English. Like the farmer
Yeah, the
teams
farmer
of
leagues. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
BSN
Yeah,
teams,
yeah.
like how you grow up from there all the way to the
Right.
BSN. So my brother got invited to the Sub 21 team, and they won a championship. He went on from there, also being in the national team. They got him signed in Capitanes. So after the first season in 2014, when they went to the finals, he didn't play a lot. You know the story about rookies, and I'm sure that that's going to be a topic of talking. So after he finished, he was like, "I want to play, out there," and I'm like, "Go find an agent. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, like I'm not an agent." Um, the only person that I know is my best friend. She was a eminence person in Costa Rica. My best friend, which is another story that I'm going to tell you. She know everybody. She was the first female Costa Rican to go to Division 1 basketball. So she know a lot of people in Costa Rica. So I reached out to her. Hey, do Costa Rica has like a Division 1 basketball league that I can maybe bring my brother? So I was the one that helped that little transaction for my brother to get signed and go play go overseas basketball in Costa Rica back in 2014. That's literally how I started as an agent.
Mhm.
And it's from there is it's crazy. It's crazy. And then obviously that story is crazy because when I was there, I went there for 3 days in Costa Rica. No, nobody never goes to Costa Rica for a first time for just 3 days. People told me, "How long you want to be here, man? For a week, 2 weeks?" "Oh no, I just leave tomorrow." "You just got here. Well, who does that?" I was like, "Yeah, I know.
Man.
It was an impromptu, but I wanted to make sure that my brother played in the first game,
Right.
making sure everything was good. And that's my best friend had an older sister. That older sister today is my wife. So
Nice, nice,
I
nice.
met her.
And-
I met her on that first trip that I went to
yeah,
Costa Rica.
it's all aligning, man. It's a
It's
good
all aligning. Yes,
testament.
yes, yes. So that's how I started. I started, I guess, my ways to become an agent in 2014.
So, can you explain a little bit of the duties of an agent? Like, explain what an agent is and what an agent is supposed to do for their clients, you know?
Well, the agent in different worlds is like the face of the player, right? The agent's responsibility is representing them in any way possible, just to ensure that he can get what the player wants. Like players hire agents just to do the extra clerical work in order to get signed into a team, and obviously everything that comes with that. You gotta ensure that you market the player the right way. Check on the contracts. Agents in some ways are almost as little lawyers. Like you have to ensure that all these little, read all these little lines, the small words of the contract, making sure that the players are in a good environment, that everything that is placed in those papers are completed when he goes to the job, right? So, in other ways, we play salesmen because we gotta have our sales technique to ensure that the teams can buy your product, which is your players. So the way I started the business is because I was a basketball player, I was a head coach. So when I became an agent, I already had a degree in business and sales and marketing, and I already had more than 10 years of experience in sales. So it came naturally to do the job. It's just selling my players. So, you always got to do a lot of brand, what do you call that? Branding, as far as talking
Marketing.
with these teams. Yes, sitting down with the owners. In my case, because I was in San Antonio, I was doing a lot of Facebook contact. Like back then in 2014, everything has evolved from 10 years ago, but my way of contacting these people was through Facebook. So when people ask me, how did you get into the agency? I dedicated myself one, two, almost a week just to go to Facebook and start seeing people with suit and tie that look like a coach. Let me add this by. Let me go to his DM and, hey, my name is da 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 da. I wanted to, I have players. If you are interested, let me know. That's how I started and got God knows how many contacts I have at this stage. But I started that way. But in some ways, the agent got to do the grind for the player. Bottom line is that it's a lot of unseen hours that maybe that player don't know that you do, but you gotta be on it. Like, sometimes you get deals at 3 o'clock in the morning in Texas because in Africa or in Europe it's already 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So it's a lot. It's almost, I don't want to say that it's a 24-hour job, but it's almost as a 24-hour job.
No, I know that you've obviously been doing a great job because it's like every year you've been growing, you know what I mean? So when did you start to notice like, oh, this is picking up some momentum? Like I'm starting to get now I don't have my little brother, I have five clients and how do you manage so many people? You know what I mean? Like not only five, because I know yours is way bigger than five, but
It's a little bigger. Yeah, yeah, it's a little bigger
just
than
for
that.
example though, you know what I mean? Like how are you managing all these
Yes.
people?
It's crazy because back in 2020, when COVID hit, I always thought that my business was gonna die. I'm gonna be honest, because that shut down a lot of the basketball in the world. But crazy enough, after COVID, 2021 moving forward, every single year the agency has gotten better and better and better and better. And I want to say, when you deliver good product to teams, right? It's all about that, because of the first couple of years between 14 to 2020, it was up and down. Not that I didn't have any clients, but it was a little bit struggling because they still don't know who you are. They don't still, believe in your product. They don't trust you enough. And when you put every single player that back then, because I was starting, I wanted to have clients. I put different players in situations where they burn themselves and burn myself in. That's why I have grown a little bit more, because I have decided to be a little bit more, I guess the word is, very meticulous on who I get into my agency and who I don't get. Because the problem is, you can help everybody, right? You can burn yourself if you put a player that doesn't have the profile or the qualities that the team is wants at that moment, but they trust you because you're the agent and you know who you're placing there. If they mess it up, not to say they over there, then it's you. It's you, and then they probably won't call you again.
Right.
So that's why um, I always feel that I was one of the agents that wanted to help everybody, because that's the way I am. I'm a good guy. I never see the bad of the people, I guess, or try. I have obviously I've had to learn after multiple years of experience, but I always like to see the good of the person that wants to do work or trust that players because my business model is a little different from other players, and I'll explain you a little bit about that. I have learned how to get connected with the right people, and those players have helped me develop the way I am today. So that's always about that. You got to make sure that you got the right players and the right clients, and they can trust your work because that's the other part. And obviously, as as much as I have gotten players, good players, they have also left the agency, right? For different reasons, of course. Like I always have this saying, you can't save them all as much as you want to, but also there's the trust point that the players need to be trusting your work, even though they don't see your work, if that makes sense.
Right.
So, it takes, going back to the question is knowing your clients, making sure that you have a good screening process in place in order for you knowing that that's a good player that you can place out there, and then they're gonna be doing good things for you out there.
So with the screening process, like I'll just go with my experience with you. Before we decided to get into the talks about me signing to the agency, we didn't know each other really. I never saw you, we talked on the phone,
On the
but
phone?
um, we really got introduced over like a text message, you know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah,
Yep.
my name is George, I'd like to represent you. I didn't even know, and I think it was through the BSN draft, right? You were able to sign me.
I saw your information. Yep.
Okay, so, but what makes you say, okay, that is somebody that I want to go sign? Like, because you don't know these people. You in San Antonio, the league is in Puerto Rico. It may be months before you see them. I was in
Yes, yes,
Connecticut,
yes.
so it's kind of, you couldn't even see me in Connecticut.
Exactly. And you're right. And here's the crazy part about it. Obviously, when I get to check on these players, especially like my situation when I'm trying to bring players to maybe to the BSN, like a draft situation, that is like the whole process. I have to ensure that I check on this player. So what I do, there's a Eurobasket profile worldwide data where I can go in, I pay for a subscription, and I check the entire profile of you. Like, putting your situation. I went in when I saw your name. I saw that you had, Puerto Rican blood. So I was just like, okay, let me do my research first before I reach out to Cal and see if this player has what it takes to be in the BSN. Like, let me see how's your stats. Let me see some of the games. Let me see some of the highlight videos. Like us as the agents, we have to spend at least a certain amount of hours just checking videos, having the time to sit down, not just going 2 minutes and oh, wow, he can score. Yeah, everybody in a highlight can score, right?
Right.
So you got to sit down and do a little more work, and then start talking to other people. I believe one of my good friends, agents in Puerto Rico that works in your area of New Jersey, I'm sure that he knows more than me in those areas. So when I got your name, I was like, hey, have you heard about this guy? He was like, oh, I heard about him. I got a little bit of background from him. And then that's how I got information from you. And then I do a little screening of my own in BSN. I send your information and I start asking, what do you think about this player? Because the coaching in Puerto Rico is going to determine, oh, yeah, I think he can play. He might be a good fit in the league. So, out of all the teams that I sent your information back there before even communicating with you, San Germán was one of the ones that like, you know what? He might be a good fit, and obviously you know, they go about numbers, but they also do a little research, right? They go about, well, this player played Division 1, average 10 points per game. That can transcend into maybe, some minutes of playing time in Puerto Rico and he can do good. So that's how I got it. Now,
Right.
the biggest thing that I have tried to little by little evolve is the contact part, like me going personally to the players and making sure that they are good, that they know me, that their families maybe know me, and do that. Now that's one of the areas because again, I've been doing this for 11 years. Do I do I do everything the right way? No, maybe there's growth to improve every single day, every single year. I don't think that I have set up a system that is still working perfectly for me. because I'm a one man show. I mean, I do work for myself and I run everything else. So I always consistently learning from other people how other agents do and does. And I always have done, I'm always the person that, oh, I like the way he do it. Let me steal that from him. Oh, I like this. When I sit down with another agent, I have a conversation and I like the way he does this. Let me do that for myself. So that's kind of like the way I've been trying to do my things as far as getting a player from point A to point B, especially with the BSN, knowing that BSN has grown so much in the past 5 years.
Yeah. I see with your agency, obviously it's growing, like the trajectory is going up, right? You're getting more clients, you're getting better leagues. Obviously the BSN is getting better, so you're able to place them there. There's more money involved, and
Yes.
you're representing way more and more players every year. And it may be a little bit difficult to manage because say you have, for example, let's say you have 25 clients, right?
Yep.
How do you are you ever thinking about expanding and bringing some people on board to kind of help you out and make this like a whole business,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. A million times, because obviously if you want to spend it in them, that's the only reason why I set up my agency with Bejarano Sports Management, not Bejarano Basketball Agency, because I want to eventually maybe there's a sport that I'd be interested in, and then maybe I can brand to that sport, right? So it's always been in the books. I do have some things that I'm cooking on the back end right now because again, like you said, like it's getting big, it's getting more clients, things are going in the right direction, and obviously time wise, because I also do another job on the side, so it's getting to the point I need to start, spending my brand, like how I'm gonna do that. So there's been some talks, there's been some people that wanna maybe best in what I'm doing, and maybe bringing this to another expansion. I know that you probably have seen out there Dream Cash Management. You probably have seen that we do a lot of business together. His CEO, the Corey Jones, and we have been partnering for the past 3 years, and we always sitting down and strategizing ways of doing exactly what you're mentioning. So there's some things in the horizon that hopefully it pays off the way we wanted it to be. So we'll
right.
see.
So with working with other agents, because that's kind of the job. Like if somebody wanted to bring in like DeMarcus Cousins, somebody want his agent want to bring in DeMarcus Cousins to Puerto Rico, they have to have an agent that can help them out in that, and because that's their like home base, you know? So
Yep.
like teams in Europe or Tunisia or teams in Mexico, how did you end up formulating those relationships with those, those different countries, you know?
Yep, that's a good question, man. So I want to say that my beginnings was all about Latin America, and I actually got the chance to connect directly with all those teams. Like I can honestly sit down now and say I pretty much dominate markets like Argentina, Uruguay, Colombia, Chile, Dominican Republic, obviously BSM, Puerto Rico, Salvador, Nicaragua, Mexico. Why? Because I developed them already from the beginning of time. Do I still use agents? Of course, because the time thing. Maybe I don't have so much time to actually do what I did at the beginning, contacting me directly,
Right.
but I also have a person that goes there and they asking me for players. So I do have the players. Go ahead. And I'm one of the guys that I don't mind splitting commissions or 60/40, 7/30, 70/30 commission split. I don't mind that because the ultimate job here is to ensure that my client gets the job, you know. So when it comes to Europe, I do have direct contacts, but Europe is a different beast. In Europe, they gonna trust the agent that is inside their place rather than an outsider. So what I try to do is partnering with two or three good European agents that they will give me, okay, I have this job, this job, this job, this job. Do you have the clients? And I'll go straight up with them. And obviously, what I do as a screening part is going through them and the team just to make sure that my players are going to be sitting up in the right situation. In your case of Tunisia, that contact that I have for you, the contact I've been knowing him since I beginning of starting my agency. Like the person that got me the opening is a very good friend of mine. Like the only reason why I will ever visit Tunisia, right, besides seeing my client, is actually to see him in person and talk. We have a good relationship. Like he has seen my family, I have seen his family, through FaceTime, of course. And so we know each other. So we developed that connection. With other European agents, I might have it, but the thing is that I do have the connection straight up. But some of these teams in Europe, they will not trust you because they don't know you. They know that you have their contact, but you got to make sure that you provide a good, solid client and player. And once you get one and that player does good, then they're going to start going directly to you and all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever had a situation um where you sent the player out and like into the Europe market? Well, obviously the Europe market is a little bit different from the Latin America market as far as timing, right? Like
Yep.
the season is a little bit longer in Europe, even the
And Europe's a little bit longer.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But you ever have a situation where you had to send them out and they're like, "Oh man, I really this player is so far." You know what I mean? It's hard to get them exactly what they need. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
the struggles of being an agent.
Well, yeah. Yes. My longest player that I have sent out is Georgie. Obviously, Georgie went to Greece, and it was a great experience. I mean, for crying out loud, I put him in Mykonos. Like Mykonos is like one of the best cities in the world, and so I put him right in a good situation. Like housing wise, it was good. Infinity pool, the views, everything. But a lot of these players mentally, sometimes it takes a turn in their mental health. It's mental health is a serious stuff. It is real. And sometimes I had also another situation in Argentina when I put a player there, and there was like, not that I don't want to finish because it's good money, but this is the last time I come in here because there's nothing else to do here. It's either from the house to the basketball gym, to the gym, to the house, nothing to see, nothing to do, and that those things drive players crazy. So I have had those experiences, and one of the best ways of me trying to deflate the situation is obviously use social media as far as connecting with your family as much as possible. Let them know that you're okay, talk to people that show them around, try to do things that are not going to endanger you because you never know. As an agent, you're placing these players, but you don't know exactly where they are. You do research, but there's no safe city in the world. Like you never know what is happening around. So I always tell my players, check also the areas. If there's something that you can do, like go to eat to some place, try to do that. And then I try to utilize the people in the team as much as possible so they can tell you as a player, hey, let's go this, let's go there. We'll take you to this place so you can at least enjoy a little bit of, where you are. But it's never it's never like a perfect situation. Not saying that it's not perfect as far as like you getting everything that you get in your contract and everything is good. It's just the experience of the mental health and how difficult that can play a part
Mm.
in your performance in the court. That all sometimes that get into it.
Yeah, I can definitely say just from being out there, the time difference. When I was in Tunisia, I was maybe 7 or 8 hours ahead. So
Seven and eight. Yep.
I'm I'm ready to go to sleep and they're in the middle of the day starting work, or I'm up and it's 3 o'clock in the morning here or something, you know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah.
so much different. I know that can be a little bit difficult not being able to talk to your family, and then you everywhere you go, like you don't understand what people are
You
saying.
don't understand what they're saying. Yes.
It's just a bunch of people sounding like blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? You don't really know what's
Let
going
me
on, but
let me ask you, since we're talking about the subject, Kyle, without the extra that happened, how was your experience over there in Tunisia?
I had a great time. I love playing basketball, and getting the opportunity out there, and I'm seeing the world, you know. I probably never would have went there, and if I wasn't playing basketball out there. And it's still people that I talk to literally every day from
I can.
so it's actually it's crazy. I met some friends that I even told them today, like, yo, we're gonna meet up again. You come to New York, or next time I'm playing somewhere, I'll come out and visit, whatever, during a little break, So it's what you make of it, obviously. You know what I mean? It's always what you make of it. But I would say, like, overall, I had a great experience. You're getting paid to play, it's a great.
Yeah, you do your best. Like they will treat you in some ways like you're the LeBron James of that league because that's they invested their money into you being the guy that is gonna answer their prayers. So they're gonna treat you the right way, especially if you deliver. It's all about if you deliver,
Mhm.
they're gonna treat you like royalty. And that's the way. Like I still this today. I think I haven't gotten the chance to tell you, but there was like at least two, three people from Tunisia, hey, is Kyle McGee available? Obviously, at the beginning when you had the surgery, and I'm like, unfortunately, not right now.
Right,
Now get back to me in the next couple of months, and I can, depending on where he is, on what we have going on, we might try because the good thing about when you go to a place and they say you a salary and you oversee the expectations, know that if you decide to go back, the salary is going to increase.
of course.
It's always going to increase no matter how much, but it's going to increase significantly, especially if you deliver. And maybe teams, the top teams, where they pay more money, because you do know that in Tunisia, there's teams that they have their players making over 100,000 a year.
Right.
Like
Mhm.
those things are possible.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I know that you could just see, like, it's like kind of like a ladder, like, and obviously I'm starting off as a rookie in the BSN, so I'm down here, or a totem pole. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, or bottom of the ladder. But then, you perform, and you keep climbing the ladder, and eventually, you'll end up where you want to be. So,
True.
yeah. Um, so I heard in the beginning you said that when you saw me and you looked up my profile on the Eurobasket, you said that I had some Puerto Rican blood. So are all of your clients Puerto Rican, or do you have non-Puerto Rican clients, or is it, how does that work?
Good question. So, most of my clients are from Puerto Rico. They were born and raised in Puerto Rico. I have gotten a couple of clients that are like in your situation, that they're from the United States, but they have Puerto Rican, related blood. Um, I want to say maybe I work directly for maybe like 10 to 15 clients that are born and raised in the United States, no parents from Puerto Rico. So I do work with those type of guys the same way with the females. I try to work with females that are from Puerto Rico and get connected with other ones that are American Americans. At one point I had a Colombian client with me. I had a Obviously, I have talked to different citizens from the world. They wanted to work with me, but because of the way I have my business model and my time, I don't sign clients from elsewhere unless I know the league, because maybe those players can play in their national league or whatever, but I need to know exactly the time frame, who I need to speak to, and little things like that. That those take some time for. So I want to say my clientele, is lands about Puerto Rico, the 65% of it, and the rest is from clients outside of Puerto Rico.
Okay. Wait, hold on, George. This is gonna cut off. I'm gonna stop the recording and then just press record again. What do you see the end vision of VSM? Like, what do you see it the bigger picture, like the end goal of it all? I know you said that you wanted to probably get into some other sports, and I know you're doing men and female now, but what do you see it being overall? Like, are you gonna be a boss, or are you gonna be just working by yourself, or what?
Well, the ambition, obviously, like anything that you try to pursue as your own business, is eventually just being on the sidelines and have my people working right for the agency. And I really want to eventually at some point brand it to like different sports, not just basketball. Like I really feel like there's always a need for what the type of things that we do, like in baseball, like in soccer, like in um, I want to say I want to say that right now pickleball is picking up. even pickleball now. You have agents that I didn't know about that, but those are things that you're like, oh, so that's not bad to understand and maybe check it out. Now NAIL is something that is getting big. The NAIL, and that is an area that I've been giving a thought for the past year. Like I'm not, I'll be honest. Like I have seen the way it's transcending the NAIL. Just got a little scared this year with all these people that transfer portals and a lot of them not getting signed. So I'm like how that works when you're representing a player and doesn't get signed. What is next? So little things like that that got my mind. But is that is real, and that is a lot of agencies that I have seen started the way I am are branding towards expanding to NIL. Now they bring people from other areas. So again, the everything is here, right? And I have discussed it with not a whole lot of people, but people that are close to me, as far as eventually trying to expand my. So I see that timeline wise, I'm not there yet. When I'm going to develop, but I think it's sooner than later. Let's put it that way.
I'll tell you that NIL stuff, that's huge because even my school, Sacred Heart, they just went up, their budget just went up $400,000. And they saying the top player is getting paid this next player is getting paid this, so it's a lot of money where they're making.
It's an eye opener, right?
Yeah, and they're making sometimes in some cases they're making more than some people that are playing overseas. So that's definitely somewhere I didn't even think about that, but you bringing that up, that's definitely somewhere that you should be looking into. And that's not a division that's not at the highest level of Division One. That is at towards the mid bottom, you know what I mean? So if you're looking at teams like freaking UConn or Texas,
Oh,
those big schools, you
the
definitely money
budget is
in there.
big.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I heard stories about players already making millions,
Yeah.
millions in NAIA. So you're like, okay, so that is something there. Like but it creates another. Okay, so your mind is going like, well, that's a lot of money. But then on the back end here, it's like, how do you get those players into these colleges? So now you have to start high school. Now to start checking those players from high school.
Right.
AAU now is going to play a big role in these colleges getting these players because they want to try to go to the EYBL tournaments that they play for high schools, like the Nike tournaments for high school players. Now this it creates more work. Not that it creates more work in a good way, but you got to do your research instead of like the traditional way, the way I used to do it of, oh, you're looking for an agent, let me help represent you, let me talk to this team and get you there.
Right.
Okay, so now it takes a different turn, but it's a good problem to have if
Yeah.
eventually you want to make a profitable company that you
Yeah.
can rely on and you can keep doing this for the rest of the years to come.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I think that could be something you really are successful at. Just to wrap it up, man, I want to hear. I have two more questions. I just want to hear some of the good things and some of the bad things of being an agent that you personally have been through.
Well, I guess I was the good thing, and especially the good things is described by the type of person that you are. If you're a good person if you're the type of person that placing a player and making the most amount of money is a good thing for you, then it's good. For me, I think one of the biggest things that happened to my agency, of course, it goes back to one name and one name only, is DeMarcus Cousins. Like getting DeMarcus Cousins into to the BSN was a, a significant thing that happened to my agency because not that Puerto Rico hasn't seen good imports, but I think never until that moment, never a name like a DeMarcus Cousins, like a first round. I think he was pick five or pick one. I think it was pick one on the drive, or didn't pick five. It was like the biggest name close to being a superstar in the NBA that have wanted to play in Puerto Rico. Um, and the way that he performed that year, it was, oh wow, the type of player like that can come to Puerto Rico. And then a lot of people don't know this, but you know that you saw Dwight Howard in Puerto Rico at some point. We were involved. Like I was the one that created that proposal for him that he almost made it to Puerto Rico. So that was gonna be like, yeah, that was gonna put my agency in And
Right.
I don't like to take credit that time when he was in Puerto Rico, but I was just like, if we get the deal done, yeah, everybody's gonna know that it was because of BS.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what happened that year, a lot of my players got signed in different opportunities around the world. You got the Georgie going to Greece. I got another client going to Asia. I got another plane going to Europe. Like it opened a lot of those doors for me that 2023, and obviously it has kept it ever since. We have placed now with the Marcus. Every year I have placed at least one import into Puerto Rico. Nothing that never happened until the markets came in. Now a lot of teams are starting to trust that I can get them good names. After that, we got Scotty James in Puerto Rico. He was one of the best imports in Puerto Rico. And last year we got the phenomenal Alex Hamilton with Maya West, taking Maya West to almost to the final. So, it has opened different doors and different venues for me and my clients. So I want to say those are the good things.
Yeah.
As far as the bad things, it's just, and I'll be transparent with this part, helping a lot of players at the beginning of their careers, develop them, getting them to where they need to be without getting a lot of opportunities. But we try, we grind, every single thing that they did, I showcase that out there so they can be in a position to finally, we're going to get that big break. We're going to get that 4 year deal. We're going to get that 3 year deal. All of a sudden, they want to go to a different agency. So that's the back part of the business that I have deal with it. In some cases, a lot of tears, a lot of unseen sadness on my part. I'm like, damn, like we got to the point that we wanted it, and now you don't want to make me part of your success. When I thought that I was the one helping you and being on your side. A lot of these players, they want to think when they get to that point that they are players and agents. And I'm like, you didn't did that. You didn't did the agent work. I did. Even though you think that because I'm not there doesn't mean that I haven't done the work. Maybe the owners and the GMs are going to talk to you more because you're there. You're supposed to be my face when I'm not there. So I have shared that type of disappointments, but every time that happens, when I lose a player, I always gain one or two. So, I guess I have to start all over again from scratch and try to build the next player to be like. And there's some good players, and I don't want to mention names, but there's a case of maybe four four players that I helped to develop, and nowadays they went to another agent and they making good money, and I'm like, it sucks a little bit, but obviously I guess it's part of the business, and keep learning the things that I made did wrong that they decided to go to the another agency that maybe I can learn from it and then have that not happening to me again.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna say that it's not gonna happen to me again. Sometimes these players get a little greedy and they feel that I cannot bring the big contract to their plate. But for crying out loud, I was the only agent in Puerto Rico that brought that big contract at
Right.
one point with DeMarcus Cousins. I can get anything, so it is what it is. It is part of the process. So it's just always learning from it and try to get to positions that don't happen to me again. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I know from the player's perspective, I know we have a bunch of conversations, me and you going back and forth. And sometimes I even know it's like, yeah, I know I'm bugging this guy. I know that I have to be a little bit. I'm just saying from well, the way that I'm thinking, I know it's because you're so like anxious for the opportunity, like anxious to like, oh, come on, I want to keep this thing going. I want to, and at first it's like choppy, you know what I mean? It's like you're not really the beginning of the career, you have to prove yourself all over again. It doesn't really matter what you did in the college level.
Yep.
Went from the college level and then got to the BSN and you back to being a rookie. You back to square one. So I understand that it's hard in the beginning, but once you start to see that success, it's like, this guy helped you get there. So why not let's try to stick it out, you know what I mean?
And sometimes it's like because you got these, and I'm talking about Puerto Rico, right? You got these agencies. There's one agency in particular, and one agent that is obviously the top of the brand. Like everybody wants to be like that agent one day to have all these clients with getting all these big contracts. But the way you are doing it, not spending maybe the same amount of time that guy is doing it, and you're getting success, I'm like, imagine if you go full time, like you'll be in that position. But it goes to the vision of those players. Like if they see you and they trust you that you're doing the type of work that you're doing without not being there 24/7, then everything is going to work out. But it's just a matter of the connection between the player and the agent.
Yeah,
So to get to that type of connection, they got to see you, and I have learned that over time. Like at the beginning of my years, I never went to Puerto Rico for a BSN game.
right.
From 2014 to 2020, I never went to a game for my clients, and I was an agent already. So the first time that I did that, that was eye-opening because you don't know how much for them. Is they need that. They need to see you. They need for you to see the bullshit that is going there in the locker rooms and little things. And I'm like, wow. That first year that I did that, it was an eye-opening experience. Then that following year, I think I had like, I think it was the Marcus year when I went twice and I got to see all my 22 clients in those two trips. Even if they didn't play, even if I didn't spend more than an hour, I made sure that I drove and wanted to listen to them. What were the things that they were going on that year to ensure that I can go and have ammunitions to talk to these owners, to talk to these teams, and they like it. They like to see me going, even if it's to invite them a meal. They enjoy that. Like that year, I probably spent a lot of money in meals. And after the game, let's go eat. I'll pay. They like that. They like that. When I say they like that shit, they like that shit. They like it a lot.
Even when I came, I remember you picked me up from the plane. We came off
Yep,
the plane, got picked up, and then we went to a meal, and it's like you took me to the Walmart or something, like you know what I mean? Like you helped me out a lot, and it's like that makes like the connection so much bigger than somebody that I'm just calling over the phone. You know what I mean? So it
exactly,
helps.
exactly. And I think I owe you that just because I didn't get the chance to actually see you playing in college. And I learned from that. And I believe I got one client that I went, because of your situation, it has helped me. I want to tell you, it has helped me to now when I'm getting these college players, I'm actually trying to do the trip to see them play college because that's gonna create a different connection
Of
that
course.
they're gonna trust you more and they're gonna trust your work and they're gonna trust the things that you can deliver for them in their professional careers.
Yeah, of course, of course. All right, last thing I wanted to ask you, man. It's like, do you have any crazy stories, any crazy experiences of being an agent? I know it's a lot going on. You're dealing with a bunch of personalities from all over the world, you know. Would you like to share any crazy stories that you had?
Wow, man, like that's almost putting me at the spot, and I know that if you deliver this part and you uploaded this to a social media, the
Uh,
person's gonna be like, do you really went there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, because
yeah.
it's a crazy story, but I want to say that I have to think this through a little bit. Crazy stories with my clients. I want to say, obviously, man, he's the winner. He got out of my agency and then he came back. We've been working again for the past year and a half. My poor guy, one of my good guys, one of my best clients, and one of the worst clients, but it's also one of the best clients. Is Gabi Belardo. Like poor Gabi. Like we and him, we have gone into the trenches. Like when I say to the trenches, I'm talking about placing him in Chile for almost 3 months, him being the one of the top imports in the country and not getting paid 1 cent in those 3 months. Not only that, the living condition that I put that poor guy into there, it was my first job for him outside of Puerto Rico. And it was by far one of the worst experience. Cockroaches,
Oh,
freaking ants, the shower situation, everything was wrong. Everything, when I tell you everything was wrong in that job. Like he got out of there not getting paid. We never got to see any money. The team was so bad that shut down the franchise for 2 years after Gabi got out. They just recently came back. I think they got a good management. I tried to collect that money. Yeah, but that money was lost. Like we lost that money. It was, and it was nothing. It wasn't that much. It was like for for what, $1,500, $2,000. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. But that was the type of opportunity that my guy needed it for our next assignment, which is he got him into Uruguay and he became the leading scorer and the leading assist of that league after Chile. Now, don't ask me about the situation. The living condition was still not, maybe we upgraded it just a little bit. It
Mm,
was still bad, but it was Gabi Velarde is one of those players that I love him to death. Is almost like a brother to me. He played with my little brother back in Puerto Rico.
mm.
His mother was my mentor in one of the companies that I work for. So you can see the type of relation that me and his family has, that I even know their parents in a different level. And Gabi was one of those players that he always had it like he had a family that provided everything for him. Everything. So imagine taking this poor kid from that situation and put in a situation where he didn't have nothing. So it was bad. Me and Gabi, we have gone back and forth so many times. But I know that he respects the type of work that I do, and I sure respect the heck out of him to the point that when he decided to part ways, I'm like, you know what, Gabby, you're right.
Yeah.
This is the time for you to get the hell out and don't freaking
Mhm.
call me. I think we had enough. But then we came back for whatever reason, and me and him we go back. But that's I think he's one of the clients that we have shared crazy stories that we can just sit down one day and we go if him and I sit down and create a podcast on the stories that me and him have gone it, we will monetize that.
Yeah.
Uruguay, Chile, Colombia,
Mm,
um, Slovakia. He was my first client. He was my first client that I can directly got a job in Europe. It was Gavi. I got into Slovakia. We went into a European Eurobasket Summer League for him to get to this position in Slovakia because we met the coach out there in Las Vegas.
mm.
And that was my first time going to Vegas as an agent.
That's
And I got into this camp and he went to Slovakia. So
nice.
me and Gawi, man, we got so stuff. We got so many stories.
Yeah, man. But thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate everything that you've been sharing, man. It means a lot.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, I'm happy that, we're still able to work with each other and we can continue this journey.
Yes, man, waiting for that shoulder to get ready to 100 or close to 100. Once you can tell me the timeline that you're gonna be ready and work. I know that there's a couple of things that we can discuss that later, but yeah, there's a couple of things already in the horizon. So once you're ready, you let me know, and I, wish you all the best in your podcast. Hopefully, this is something that you can utilize it, as another venue for you, and wish you the best.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.